1941 until 1943, and then the Royal Artillery, seeing active service in India from January 1945. After his wartime service, he spent many decades researching, recording, and accumulating a huge archive about fellow Germans and Austrians who enlisted in the British forces during the Second World War. This extensive and encyclopedic research resulted in the publication of 2 books, the first of which was entitled X steht für Unbekannt, Deutsche und Österreicher in den britischen Streitkräften im Zweiten Weltkrieg, and was published by Verlag in Berlin in 1999. His translation of that book, The King's Own Loyal Enemy Aliens, German and Austrian Refugees in Britain's Armed Forces, 1938 to 1945, was published by Valentine Mitchell in 2006. Without his unprecedented work in this field, so much about the refugees who served in the British forces would now be lost to future generations. I am fortunate to have a close circle of friends who support me during the writing of my books. To each of them goes my particular thanks: James Hamilton, Paul and Daphne Ruleman, and Karen Davey. To Elkin Levy, former president of the United Synagogue and formerly director of small Jewish communities, I owe a huge debt of gratitude. He deserves a special mention for his tireless and enthusiastic support of my work and for spurring me on. Thanks to Mick Catmull, retired producer at BBC Southwest, who has enthusiastically taken up this story and with whom it was a pleasure to work. Over the summer of 2006, he produced a short documentary about some of these veterans for BBC Southwest's programme Inside Out, which he entitled The King's Most Loyal Enemy Aliens. It was broadcast on 16 October 2006 and then shown twice on Armistice Day, 11 November, across Britain. My heartfelt thanks must go to Mary Curry. During the early 2000s, she sent appropriate material my way and read the drafts of every chapter. Her comments and meticulous attention to detail are much appreciated and have enhanced the quality of my writing. My huge thanks to my husband, sons, and mother, without whose practical help this book could not have been written. May you continue to appreciate the recording history for posterity. Introduction. This is the extraordinary story of the 10,000 Germans and Austrians who fought for Britain during the Second World War. Their particular contribution to the Allied victory over Hitler and Nazism is largely unknown. 1 in 7 of the 75,000 German and Austrian refugees who came to Britain between 1933 and 1939 enlisted in the British forces, a surprisingly high percentage. Under Nazi law they were stateless, but according to British law they were still Germans. They all took the unprecedented step of swearing allegiance to King George VI, even though, with a few exceptions, they did not receive British nationality until after the war. The majority began their army life in the non-combatant Pioneer Corps, the pick and shovel on their cap badge emblematic of hard physical labour. They became affectionately known as the King's Most Loyal Enemy Aliens. They had come to Britain as victims of Nazi oppression, mainly the Jewish intellectuals of Central Europe, but also Aryan socialists and degenerate artists, the political opponents of Nazism. All had one thing in common. Their lives and those of their families were at risk after the Nazis gained power in Germany in 1933 and in Austria in 1938. Born and raised in those countries, the Jewish refugees saw themselves first and foremost as loyal German and Austrian citizens. Their Jewishness was secondary. A trace of Jewish ancestry, or opposition to Nazism, put thousands of ordinary German lives at risk. Many had relatives who had fought the British during the First World War, or they themselves had done so and received the Iron Cross for bravery. All this counted for nothing. So just 21 years later,